Yes.
and just it felt very real. Our other comic connection is we both have Sandman tattoos. And Tina was like, we need to like talk about it, so I'm gonna throw that to you as your first question. Let's talk about your tattoos, Tina.
Oh yeah, so I have a tattoo from the Neil Gaiman comic Sandman, which is very formative for me. It's right here. It is the key to hell. So I've got it if you need it. And Melissa has an even more explicitly sex work themed Sandman tattoo. Do you want to talk about?
I will. So this is it, and it's like only a year old, and it's from the arc of Sandman called Brief Lives, and it's like one of the best arcs. And this is from a strip club called. What was it called? Was it called Sister Midnight? But they were dancing to. No, it was called Suffragette City, but they were dancing to Sister Midnight.
That's right.
Confusing. Maybe you would do that. But anyway, this is one of the dancers who worked there who made men come and explode while dancing to Sister Midnight. So that's my girl.
Relevant.
So yeah, let's go back to the journey of this comic. San Francisco, Lauren McCubbin, Vertigo, Sandman's publisher.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. How did we get here?
Well, I have never really written fiction before. Oh my God, here I am in this moment, I plan everything. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Yeah, so I've never really written fiction before. I'm primarily a nonfiction writer and media maker, and then an editor at DC Vertigo, which is an imprint that I grew up loving. Sandman, The Invisibles, just tons and tons of titles that were really perfect for like a horny, cerebral, ultra-violence obsessed teenager in a small town, which was me. Yeah, so an editor from DC Vertigo reached out to me after listening to my podcast, Why Are People Into That?, which you can listen to wherever podcasts are heard, and asked me if I would be interested in developing a comic, and I said yes, and I pitched SfSx. I pitched the idea of a queer sex worker dystopia, and he said that I like that idea, and so then we developed it, and yada yada yada, now it's an image and it exists.
And so what we have here, the release today, which now is going to be rare, right? Because this is the first printing, this cover. We can get more into that later.
Yeah.
Just so you know, you might never be able to get this one again. And the artist for this one, Michael Dowling.
Yeah, he did the interiors, and this cover is done by Tula Lotte, who, yes, an amazing comics cover artist, and Michael Dowling, who did the inks and the pencils and the inks and the coloring, which is 3 different jobs that are sometimes done by 3 different people or more, and he did them all. He did the interiors for this issue, yeah.
And one of the things that he seems to have really excelled at is there's like the first time that this iconic Louboutin heel arrives, it is like the size of like my pinky thumbnail, and you can tell immediately what it is. There's not a lot of like red bottom visible, and it's like, I know what that is right away. Maybe I was prepared from knowing you, but that shoe and its recurrence, you said there was like a kind of a story behind that.
Well, I mean, the story is that Mike is an incredible artist, and he is trained as a painter, and he has had much more experience in comics than me. And as you will see, for those of you who have the book, as you're flipping through it, it's so gorgeous, and he did an incredible job. But because this is a story that has so much cultural specificity for me, I was like very obsessive with my Pinterest board and very obsessive with a lot of the details of certain things, like the high heel that is used to mutilate a cop. It was, you know, I had, and by the way, I didn't know anything about high heels or really any fashion, especially femme fashion, before I became a sex worker. So I was like, I have not spent all this time learning about all of these details about what like 6-inch stiletto versus a 7-inch stiletto, and what a peep toe means, and what a red bottom means. I haven't spent all this time learning about all this fetishism to just have you like make something that looks like the high heel emoji. So I was really, yeah, I made him draw it over and over and over again until he got it right. And I guess he did.
No, it's perfect. And the following issues after the first 3 are all going to have different artists.
Yeah, so Michael has done issue 1 and issue 2, which is out next month, and then issue 3 is going to be a pop-in issue by Alejandra Gutierrez, who is an incredible artist who is a trans woman of color from Colombia and is also an out sex worker. So being able to have an artist working with me on an issue of the comic that is about queer sex workers, who herself is an out sex worker and is also queer, is just such an exciting opportunity and makes me feel really great. And then issue 4 is also drawn by Michael, and then issue 5 is going to be drawn by the genderqueer artist Jen Hickman, who I've collaborated with on some short horror stories. And I'm just really excited to have an all-queer team now.
I feel like we should talk about what's inside